Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm sure by my thumbnail you guessed what we are going to be doing today. I have a little baggie from Sephora here. It looks small, but don't let it deceive you. I have $186 worth of products inside here, and we're gonna test them out together today. I have a new eyeshadow palette here, a new lip gloss, I have a new brow product, and a brand new cream blush. It should be a lot of fun. I am very eager to dip into these. They look beautiful. I've already tried the lip gloss. I couldn't wait. I tried it out when I got back in my car a few days ago when I bought this stuff, and I already have some thoughts. We're gonna get into it all, of course, but before we do, a very special welcome to anyone that is new here. Thanks for joining me today. I hope that you enjoy this video. Please consider subscribing, and most importantly, make sure notifications are turned on. But that's enough talking. Let's get right into it. Okay, so here is my little baggie of makeup. Now, I actually only have 4 products that we're gonna be trying out today because a couple of things in here I bought for my sister for a birthday gift. So let me just show you guys what I ended up getting her. Erica, if you're watching, here's a little spoiler. I got her the Tower 28 mascara and a little lip sleeping mask from Sephora brand. I also ended up picking up my birthday gift. So it was my birthday this month. This is the Glow Recipe Duo, a little like sample size of the Glow Recipe, which I have not tried yet. So we will try this out at a later time. I suppose I could have done it today, but I wasn't thinking about that initially. So I already have the rest of my makeup on. I'll list everything that I am also wearing other than the new stuff that we're trying down below. But here's what I picked up. First off, let's start with this right here. This is the lip gloss. It's from Lawless. This is the Forget the Filler Lip Plumping Line Smoothing Gloss. I think I mentioned in a wish list video months ago, maybe even like a year ago, that I wanted to try this out. I finally picked one up. It was kind of pricey. I mean, for how much product you get in here, I always am paying attention to how much product is inside something, and this does not include a lot. It only has 0.11 fluid ounces or 3.3 milliliters. Just as a quick comparison, I have my NYX Fat Oil right here, which I also thought was not a lot of product. This does have 4.8 milliliters, whereas the Lawless has 3.3 milliliters. So there is not much in here. But that said, I did try this out in my car. It's very interesting. I'm not gonna say anything more than that right now. We'll talk more about it when we get to this product, but I picked up this shade Glazed. Very unique product. I'm excited to show you guys. I also picked up the Makeup by Mario Soft Pop Plumping Blush Veil in Perfect Pink. This is a cream blush we're gonna try. I got the Refy Brow Tint. This is a brow gel. Very interesting brow gel, and I went with the shade Medium Brown, which is quite dark. I kind of am liking a darker brow gel. And last but not least is the Natasha Denona Yucca palette. I'll mention to you guys as we get into the palette why I went with this one. I was back and forth on this palette or the newer Anastasia palette. I asked for some of your feedback and it just confused me further. So I went into a store to pick these up to see if I could swatch the palettes. And after swatching them, they both looked beautiful, but I was leaning towards the Anastasia one, but that one was out of stock. So I ended up just picking this one up. I know some of you are gonna be disappointed, I think, no matter what my decision would have been. But here it is. This is the new Natasha Denona Yucca palette. I know it's been out for a while. I'm kind of very late to the game on this one. Maybe you guys have lost interest already, but I have to say, it is very pretty. I wasn't so sure when I first saw this online when it was released. Thought it was kind of like an odd, I don't know if odd's the right word. It was a unique color story that I wasn't sure was quite me, but it looked a lot different from her other palettes, and there are some really beautiful shades in here that I think will make some really pretty looks. So we're gonna try this out today. I'll show you guys some swatches. In fact, let me do that right now. Here's a little close-up of the palette, of the swatches, so you can see what it looks like swatched on my arm. I have to say, you guys, the shimmers in here, they're very interesting, especially this shade right here. This is one of the shades that really sold me on this palette. It's kind of like a greeny pink duochrome. I don't think I've ever seen a color quite like this. Like, it's not so green that it scares me. Greens can get into that almost blue eyeshadow territory where it kind of scares you away if you're a little bit intimidated by color. But this one is sheer enough and sparkly enough, and it has enough of this like peachy shift to it that makes it almost more wearable than I normally would think a shade like this would be. Very interesting. Love Natasha Denona shimmers. They're always so sparkly. You have to kind of see them in person and compare them to other shimmers to really appreciate how unique they are. I mean, you pay for it. That is true. This thing was $69, but that's okay. We're gonna try this out. In fact, let's do that first. I'm gonna zoom you guys in just a little bit and we will get started with this, and then we'll finish off with the rest of the stuff. Okay, so here's another close-up of the palette. I have not even swatched this yet. I'm gonna do that after I film this video today. I have no idea what to reach for first. Some of these, they all look so pretty. I feel like I could go any direction. Like these greens together would be so pretty with maybe this in the crease. I love this lime, both of these. This is more of like a yellowy lime. This is more of like a mustardy lime. But look how bold these are, you guys. Oh my gosh. These actually remind me of like a different colored version of the two yellows in the Sunrise palette, which I love those two shades. They're very interesting and maybe intimidating. Yellows can be, but these look gorgeous. Oh my goodness. Look at that like mustardy yellow. That's so cool. That reminds me of one of the shades in the Nomad palette. In fact, that's one of the palettes that this kind of reminded me of when I saw it released, was maybe a mix of the Nomad palette and the Tribe palette and the Metropolis palette from Natasha Denona. I can't remember. How about I just stop talking and just get started? So let's start off in this shade right here. This is the shade Tipu, T-I-P-U. I'm gonna grab my Cindy Grace blending brush. One more reminder, I know we're talking about some Sephora makeup today, but today is the third day of the Cindy Grace sale. I was gone all day yesterday. We went school shopping, me and my kids. Okay, that is a bold shade. Much more bold than I was thinking it might be, which is very common. I should know better by now. Natasha Denona shadows are very pigmented, but very cool. I like that shade a lot. Anyways, what was I talking about? So yeah, we were gone all day shopping yesterday, and I didn't have a chance to get onto the Cindy Grace website in the morning. And so when I got home in the evening and checked, all of the cream blushes were sold out already, which I was so sad about. That's what I really wanted to pick up from the sale. Okay, loving this color so far. Very unique, very like camo colored, but I think once we layer up some browns, I'm actually gonna put a tiny bit, I want a little bit of warmth in my crease. So I'm gonna take a little bit of this kind of peachy orange right here. This is the shade, oh goodness, these names. Ixia. I'm gonna take that on this smaller blending brush, also from Cindy Grace, and just throw that slightly above where I put that last shade. Warm that up a little bit. I do feel like I'm getting a little bit of like patchiness, which is so unusual. I wonder if it's the concealer that I used on my eyelids today. I don't want to judge the shadows too harshly quite yet, because my skin is feeling a little bit tacky underneath. But I don't know if you guys are seeing just a little bit of this patchiness up here on my eyelid. I probably should have set them down with a little bit more powder before I started, but I'm gonna go around just the edges with my little sponge here just to kind of smooth that out a little bit. Let's go with a little bit of this brown right here. This is the shade Valley. I'm gonna go back to that larger blending brush, and I want to put this right on this outer corner, just right in the socket. I feel like that's already helping out with the patchiness that I was feeling, that I was getting underneath. Okay, wow, nice and smoky already. Let's add a little bit to the lower lash line. I'm gonna take this small blending brush. This is also from Cindy Grace. Let's take, oh, what color do I want underneath? I kind of want some warmth underneath, so I'm gonna go back to that peach shade. I'm not sure I want that kind of camely color, which I do like, but I don't know that I'll like how that looks underneath my eye. Let's add, I don't feel like I need the depth in the outer corner, but I really want to try out the cream to powder formula. This is one of my favorite formulas that she offers. Let's take this brush right here. It's a little bit denser. This is, I can't even remember what this one's called. It's from Cindy Grace. It's in their eye set. Just gonna tap that into this shade, which is Calathea. Just kind of tapping this along the lash line and then kind of flicking it up a little bit. One of the things I love about this cream to powder formula, you never have issues with patchiness. It almost just like blurs everything out, but in the best way. Like, it doesn't muddy things up. It builds on top of other things really nicely, but just kind of like smooths and blurs everything out. Very pretty. Okay, let's add some shimmer. So we're gonna take this shade Plantasia. It's that kind of green shade I was raving about early on. Put that all across kind of the inner 2/3 of the lid. This is kind of the star of the look today. Wow, this is gorgeous, you guys. This palette, by the way, has fantastic reviews on the Sephora website. The Anastasia palette doesn't have as many reviews, and the reviews were not as glowing as this one, which I always feel like reviews are kind of, I don't know, not the end all be all, but I always like looking at reviews just to get an idea of kind of how people are feeling about things for the most part. That said, some of my favorite products don't have the best reviews. Like, I seem to be the only one that really loves them. That's okay, that's kind of how everything is, right? Okay, that is so pretty, you guys. Can you guys see the green? And there's a little bit of yellow, but it's not an unflattering yellow. It's very, pretty, but also has this like peach shift to it. That's gorgeous, you guys. Okay, so that's kind of where I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna throw on a couple coats of my Tower 28 mascara. Then I will zoom you guys back out. We'll take a look at the finished eye and we'll move on to the brows and the cheeks and the lips. Okay guys, eyes are all finished. I have to say, I am very impressed so far with this palette. I know that I had some initial patchiness, but I don't feel like any of that is looking patchy now. I really do feel that this cream to powder shade that I put in the outer corner, I honestly didn't think it was much darker than the brown, this brown that we put, but it really helped to kind of smooth and blur and meld all those colors together, but in a very good way. I hope you guys like this finished look. I really like it. I'm very excited about this palette. I was on the fence. I just kind of feel like this color story was maybe a little bit too colorful or too green or bold for me, but I'm pretty excited to keep playing with it. Let me know if you guys tried this one out, what you guys thought. So let's move on to the brows. As I mentioned, I picked up the Refy Brow Tint Gel. I went with the shade Medium Brown. This is a really interesting product. So it's just a brow gel. It kind of feels like the consistency of the NYX, the glue, brow glue, but this one obviously is much more pigmented and dark. It's very dark. Let me just give it a little like swatch on the back of my hand so you guys can maybe like see. So there's the product. You guys see how dark that is? Very interesting brush. I'll insert a close-up of it for you guys right here. It's kind of like a ball shaped, like rubberized mascara wand type brush. I'm just gonna take this. I actually already put a tiny bit of wax in my brows and brushed them up right about 30 minutes ago before I started filming. I'm just going to run this through my brows. There's not a ton of product that comes out on the brush. It has a really like good squeegee or whatever right there as you're pulling it out. So you don't get too much product on your brush, which I kind of like. I like that it's not too gloopy. The NYX one is a little bit more gloopy than this one because there's quite a bit left on your brush as you pull it out of the tube. I don't have anything else in my brows that's giving them color. Hoping this will kind of fill them in and set them at the same time. I actually kind of like the feathery look that it gives though. Let's move on to the cheeks. I'm really excited to try out the Makeup by Mario cream blush. I went with the shade Perfect Pink. I don't remember this looking so pink in the store. That's okay though, I don't mind that. Sometimes I feel like I go a little bit too nude when I'm trying out a new product or picking a shade for the first time. I pick a shade that's like a nude pinky peach that is the same shade that I own a million times over in my collection. So sometimes I think it's good to try something different. Very pretty. Let me give it a little swatch for you guys. These are very buttery feeling. So there's a little swatch right there. Very bold. Probably a little bit will go a long way. I'm gonna try and go in with a very light hand. This is my Alter Ego brush we're gonna use. Let's tap it off on the back of my hand initially. And then I'll kind of slowly build it up on my cheeks. Sorry guys, the sun is driving me nuts. There's these tiny little clouds outside that are just moving in and out of the sun. And my camera doesn't do well with like auto adjusting, so I'm trying to adjust it by hand. Okay, it's definitely bold. It does still feel a little bit creamy on the skin. I'm gonna take my sponge and just blend around the edges. Okay, so there is the color. That's really pretty. I do like the consistency of it. It's very creamy. If you don't, I mean, you can feel, like if you touch your cheeks, they feel a little bit not greasy, but tacky still. They actually kind of remind me of the Flower Beauty ones, the formula. Curious to see if they move around. We'll kind of keep an eye on it throughout the day. I like the color. I don't know that I like the color with this eye look, but I do like the color just as a standalone color I would wear pretty often. Just maybe not with such a yellowy gold, like fall toned eye. But let's move on to the lip gloss. So this lip gloss is from Lawless. As I mentioned, it's the Forget the Filler lip gloss. It's supposed to be a line smoothing lip gloss. Let me just throw on a little bit of lip liner. This is just my Natasha Denona I Need a Rose lip liner in the shade Calla. I almost bought the Daphne version of this while I was in the store. Figured I didn't want to spend over $200 at Sephora. So side note, here's a random question for you guys. Do you tend to spend more when you purchase in store or online? I kind of think I buy more when I go in the store. I don't browse around as much when I'm buying stuff online. I like go to what I'm planning on or interested in getting, and I don't browse as much. But in the store, when you have stuff that's open and you can swatch, it doesn't take a lot to sell me. We're gonna give that just a sec to set in. I wanna show you guys a swatch of this. I don't wanna waste it, but I'm gonna show you a tiny little swatch. Let me swatch this on my other hand. I do really like the doe foot. One thing I will say though, a lot of product comes out on the doe foot. So if you actually use kind of see the little like rounded part to hug your lip, you're gonna get a lot of product that you may not necessarily need onto your lips. So just be aware of that. If you don't like to waste product, you want it to go a long way. This one, as I mentioned, is the color Glazed. Basically all of them are very clear base. They don't have a lot of pigment. They just have different like shine qualities to them, but they are so shiny, you guys. Now, I don't think the swatch is doing it justice. I'll show you guys on the lips. I have never put something on my lips that has such a reflective glass-like quality to it. When I initially put this on, I was mesmerized by the shine. So that's just one little swatch. Look at that beautiful glass-like shine. Honestly, I don't even know that the camera is doing it justice. It looks like liquefied glass. It has this super pearly, refined shine to it that is very unlike anything I've seen. Now, the NYX ones kind of have that, but it's not quite as refined and glassy and pearly. That partly might be the shade. I think it's really pretty. It has this really nice minty, like subtle minty plumping effect. What do you guys think? Do you think it's smoothed out my lines? I kind of think if anything, maybe the shine that attracts your eye takes away your focus from the lines around your lips. Is kind of what I think the like line smoothing effect comes from. It's more of a distraction than anything, but I don't know. Let me know if you guys notice any major differences in my lips. Like I got lip filler. I really like it. I think it's a little bit overpriced. Like I wish you got more product inside here, but I do think it's pretty and I don't have any drugstore products that quite compare to this. So that's kind of my thoughts so far on it. But that's gonna do it, you guys. That's everything. Try it out on my face today. So far, so good. Love the eyeshadow, you guys. I can't wait. I'm tempted to go wash this off immediately and just try another eye look because there's so many other shades in here that I'm dying to play with. I'll keep you guys posted, especially if I notice some of those shades that I had some initial patchiness with continue to give me trouble. I don't anticipate that they will, but I'll let you guys know. As for the brow product, it has this really nice dry down effect. It's not crunchy, but it's very stiff. So I'm very hopeful that these will stay in place all day. Love the lip gloss. I like the cheek color. I will keep you guys posted on how this wears on me. In fact, I'll leave a comment down below how this wears for me throughout the day. If it fades, if it gets greasy or sticky or anything like that. But those are my thoughts so far. Let me know if you guys have tried out some of these products, what your thoughts were. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Thank you so much for stopping by. I hope that you guys are doing well. Let me give you one last reminder. Please subscribe before you leave, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye.